What's up? Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 5, I believe we're on. As you can see, I got a special guest with me tonight, Damon Merchant. What's up, man?
Hey, how are y'all?
Good, man. How's it going tonight?
Going good. It's cold and wet here, so I'm just in the shop, hanging
Now,
out, working things, trying to get caught up on everything.
now, when you say cold, I'm from Wisconsin, so when you say cold, what kind of cold are we talking about?
I think we're talking 36, 37 degrees right now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cold for down there. Yeah. So what's up, man? So what are you currently working on? I know you're not filming right now because we're seeing the 405 show on TV right now. So what are you guys working on?
So last week we completed the new engine for Rogue and got it all packed up and sent to Iowa. So kind of just got back off the road from doing that. We got back Sunday night, Lacey and I, from taking the car up there, getting fitted for the new motor, making some changes that we've needed to for a while. And now I got to get back on the Mustang and get some things figured out with it.
What is your ultimate plan with the Mustang?
The plan is to kind of get our head wrapped around exactly how to make a Coyote fast. It's definitely not a big block Chevy, and we learned that in the short period of time that we had with it on the show. And since then, we've been changing a few little things here and there that we made some mistakes on. But my plan is to just keep at it, keep picking at it, and make that thing a hot rod.
Nice, cool, man. So we'll get into the current 405 show now, but what I wanted to ask you is, before you started your Street Outlaws journey, what kind of racing were you doing?
We were doing just kind of some local, slower index racing. By the time I kind of got back in and started doing a lot of racing around here, the cars were so fast and the heads up stuff. I crewed with a guy named Terry Teague that's from around here. A lot of people know him locally. Very fast guy. And he knew what he was doing with the big tire stuff. So I was racing a small tire S10 at the time, and I'd probably pretty much like get into some of the index racing while he was doing the heads up stuff, help him out, jump in, do my races, and then anything from there we do with the S10, street races here and there with it, or take my buddy's Mustang out and race with it.
Okay. And how did you get noticed to get the invite for the 405 show?
I think when we started kind of getting noticed is once I actually bought Rogue from Terry. He built it for a race or a class called Hour of Power that they had locally, and it fell through. He was racing the Jerry Bickle car, and so I jumped into it, started kind of messing around with it. And once I decided, man, I just want a heads up race. Like, I couldn't take it anymore. We tore it down. I think we probably built that thing in about 4 years or so. Like, it took me a long time to get that thing together. In time of that, I always had it well, and I didn't really race it, but we always had it just a hot rod around. But once we got Rogue back, got it out, I mean, it didn't take long. That thing started turning some heads real quick. We entered any no prep races we could get into, jumped into any street races we could. Like, me and Craig was on a mission.
Wow, nice. So now I'm sure you knew some of the 405 guys, obviously, before you got on the show. But what was the welcoming like? What was your first experience being on the 405 show?
To be truthful, I think we kind of got in at a really weird time, and I didn't have any kind of relationships with any of them.
Oh, okay.
The acquaintances, I think I'd ran into Dom a few times, Shane. Sean remembered me from having the Chevelle at a local cruise, but I don't think he knew anything about me having the Camaro at the time. And it was real quiet. We showed up, and it was like we were there to take somebody's job, is what it kind of seemed like. Us. It wasn't a real big welcoming, but I think those guys, it took a little time for them to kind of warm up to us, kind of see where we were from and what we were doing there. And they really wanted to kind of see if we was kind of cut from the same cloth I'll say. You know,
Yeah,
it took them a little while to try to figure me out. So
for sure. And I mean, we talked about this earlier, but you were thrown right to the wolves as far as how the show was going at that point, because that's when they started the list qualifying for America's list. And it wasn't like you guys are going to be, you could get closer with them by going out of town with them and facing other groups and having their own list. It was like cutthroat, hardcore, like the top 5 are going to America's list. And here's Damon trying to get, trying to get on that list. So,
yeah, they didn't make it easy on us by no means. I mean, like, we didn't have that camaraderie there with the other guys that they had. You could tell in the night we raced Kamikaze, like it was them against us, and they had his back, and I get it. Like, I mean, I appreciate the brotherhood that they have, and if you're gonna come into this deal, you better earn some respect real quick.
yeah.
So many around here try to throw money at it and jump in and want to play with the cool kids, but if you're not that blood, it ain't gonna go well for you.
Mm-hmm. How was it being on TV for the first time?
It was
And
weird.
getting like the whole production and everything? How was that?
Yeah, so I'm from a town of about 500 people. I just wasn't used to anything kind of like that. It's it shows I'm from Chickasha, but I'm really from Alex. So very small town, never been around any cameras or people or production or anything like that. So it took some getting used to. I was not, and it still does. Like, I don't do it enough. Like, they do that shit year round, and I'm here to do the street stuff at the moment and kind of get my place cemented in it. Like, want to be a force to reckon with here before I jump into anything else. So,
Gotcha.
I think I think we're gonna tackle those those mountains as they come.
Mm-hmm.
Tough group to race for sure.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Let's fast forward to the current 405 season. How much time did they give you to get a car ready to go for the show after they explained to you what kind of cars they wanted for the show?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't a real clear picture on what kind of cars it was going to be from the get-go. I mean, they kind of left that open a little bit to kind of see what we were going to face up against, what it was going to be. And I think we had a couple of months to kind of get your shit together and get going. They were gone for MPK a lot. I mean, I would have liked to have took that time to been testing and know exactly what we were going to do, but it didn't work out in my case. Actually, I raced some future classes in MPK and try to fill that deal out a little bit. And I felt like we had it was fun. It was a fun experience. And we had some pretty decent, race people, like we had some good races with people, but it really didn't give me a lot of time to kind of get the cars ready or get a car ready. And I knew like what I was going to do at the time with the Chevelle. It's really all I had. Like I put all my money into Rogue most of the time. So I didn't really have a lot of time or money to put into something else that I didn't know if it was going to happen or how long it was going to happen or whatever. So I said, fuck it, I'll just take Dumpling and go.
What did you have to do to the Chevelle to get it ready for the show? Anything? Nice.
I got the crank height up on that thing. I threw some slicks on it and lit the first night you see us film with it, racing TJ in that Nova. That was the first night I ever dumped the clutch with a set of slicks on it. Like it was a strange feeling.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You guys that's for sure in this first half of the season. That's definitely like everybody's favorite car is the Chevelle. You manually shifting and everything. It's quite the show, man. It's cool as hell.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. I'm really glad people enjoy it. I made a YouTube video not that long ago about what that car is and what it means to me, and it's just it's been a crowd favorite for a while around here. Like everybody knows that car around this my small town and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm glad people got to see it and enjoy it, and I'm not saying it may not ever be back out. I don't know yet. We'll see where this goes.
So speaking of that, was it was it your plan to go to the Mustang the whole time, or how did the Mustang come about?
I had spoke with him before, like as soon as we kind of had our idea of what we wanted to do, but that car had been sitting for 12, 13 years. Like that car has been, they did a few things with it, did some car shows with it and whatnot, but it's been parked forever. They put some big stuff on it for ECU, never could get it lined out. And they moved on to some different things with it, or with some different things, and just parked that thing. So I knew it was there, and I knew it had some potential, and I knew it was pretty cool. Like, it was a good looking car.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted, once I kind of knew how this was going and seeing the caliber of cars that come out, like I thought that would be a cool car to have out here, and it could have the potential to win this, or race really well with this deal.
For sure. Now we've seen like the 405 show is more. I mean, it's small tire cars, it was more of street cars, daily driver, and then obviously when you talk about small tires, it's basically race cars with small tires. Do you foreseeing the future and how it seems like everything's going to small tire now? Is the Mustang a car you could use like for legit top competition, small tire racing?
Yeah, I think so. It's weight wise, probably not. Like, it's got some weight to that car and stuff. We'd really have to do some major modifications. But I think once we brought it out, it was a contender from the get go, as you've seen. If I can get my head wrapped around, and kind of get Craig to work with the Coyote engine a little bit more and stuff, that he helps me out a lot. I think we could make this thing a contender in just about anything we show up and race with.
Nice. Did you ever think about putting Rogue on small tires at all for the future?
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, we did the MPK stuff with Rogue and Big Tire. Now, when we built that car, we wanted to do street races with it. Like, we went to the first Toby Cash Days Big Tire race that he had up there. I say the first one since Rogue was built. Race with it. Like, that thing was built to street race or any ma and pa stuff we could get into. Once we started doing more of the MPK, the Armageddons, the Doomsday, the Redemptions, those style of races, the track got really good surfaces and kind of came around, and we just found ourselves outpowered half the time.
Mm-hmm.
After a while. But we did have some good success with it early and into the first part of MPK. But with that being said, we had to run that thing with its tongue out pretty hard, on Saturday night to compete. And, I broke a few things in the engine, just running it, max capability or whatever. And so it was down when they did Mega Cash Days. And I really wanted to take that thing. I think it could be a contender at small tire, or whatever we decide to do with that car. But if it ever comes about that we get to try to, throw it back on smalls, yeah, we might do that.
Okay. Talk about the atmosphere of this season of the 405, because you've seen the Cutthroat, and now you guys seem like you really come together. You got Kamikaze back, you got Reaver back, Farm Truck and Asian are back in there. As you know, it just seems like it's more relaxed, more team. You guys are a really close team and bonding together. It just seems, like I said, compared to how it's been the last couple of years where you guys are at each other's throats trying to make America's list. Just talk about the atmosphere and how it's changed.
It was enjoyable this year. I'll say that. Like, you want to use one word for it, enjoyable. The cars, like I said, ain't on life support the whole time. You don't have the stress of how hard you got to run those cars. And when we got out there, you could see everybody kind of take a sigh of relief of how easy this was going to be in the aspect of working on the cars, testing the cars, running them, and everybody had that chill factor to them. Everybody was happy to be out there again, and came together as a team. That was nice to see because, like you said, whenever I came out there, it was it's a dogfight. So
Yeah.
when, it's hard to get a gauge on people whenever they're just out for themselves at the time. Whenever you're fighting for those spots on the Americas list, but once we started working together as a team, I guess you start feeling that. Oh, okay, this is why we kind of do it as a team. Like you 405 all the time, but whenever it was cutthroat, it didn't seem like 405 anymore. But now that you see and get to race with them, with the out of towners, and how how the format is, it shows the fun side of it, I guess.
Yeah. Cool, man. So let's talk about you mentioned a couple times now you did the futures this past season for season 5 of No Prep Kings. How was your experience with that? That was your first time being at No Prep Kings. How did it go?
I felt like we got a good, from the fans, a warm welcoming. They I had a blast with it. My family enjoyed it. I wanted to be a little more competitive, but I knew I didn't have the right, set up for the occasion or enough horsepower or whatever. Like, it worked really well on the street stuff, but for the MPK stuff, those tracks got good, and these guys been doing it a while. Some of them built cars just for this, and I didn't have the at the time. And I think we came into Ohio was our very first race. Was number 4 in points at the time. He wanted to grudge. For what it is, it's just a fun little grudge race. But from the fan point of view, whenever you got this new guy coming in, Dave's number 4 in points. He's hauling ass. He's kicking ass. And, we're a car out on him the whole way. People started kind of coming around and, wondering where the fuck we came from. So we got a lot of attention from that. And then Saturday rolls around at Ohio. There was a lot of hype on the Badfish car. A lot of articles out about it and a lot of hype. And to put him out first round was pretty cool for us. It was our first round of competition in MPK, and it was his first round of competition. So to put him on the trailer right off the bat was a good feeling. And then after that, we had a few little issues here and there in Kentucky, but overall, I found it, a good experience. Something I want to, kind of take a shot at eventually, and be competitive in that sport. We had a lot of good early success in no preps, because, like I said, we built the car to street race when we started initially building it, and there wasn't any street racing going on. Like I said, Toby was really the only one to throw an illegal actual street race out there during COVID and all that shit. So we jumped in whenever we could. Any hits we can make, at 2-3 o'clock in the morning when no camera crews around, we were doing it. Like, we were going out a lot. And so that's the way we set up the car. So I had a lot of good success with the car for the small stuff, the Wichita Falls races, and Denton was around at the time, but I think it closed down as soon as we built the car. Our local track, Thunder Valley, they put on a few little ones. We made it to the final 3 at the last Armageddon. It was me, Ryan, and Kayla at the time. So nice. We had good success. I want to say Dirty South No Prep was in Odessa. We made it to the finals of our second no prep race ever. And what's funny is on the Saturday night of that race, we put out Birdman. This was probably 2020, and he was kind of the man back then, heavy to win it. And we come fucking out of nowhere and put him out, and let me tell you, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He didn't lose for a long time there in no prep. So
yeah, he showed up on property. You knew your ass was in. In trouble.
Yeah. And so everybody wants to know, and everybody's been asking me now. What about this year for No Prep Kings? What are you going to look at doing the future classes again? Are you going to try to make some of the races? Are you going to try to do your legit? I'm coming to No Prep Kings. Is that going to happen this year?
So I just released that we built a new engine combination, and we ran I think 5 future races last season. I felt like we had some pretty good success with the car until I broke it, and from then on, I could have probably patched it up and limped my way into a few more of them and kept having the same problems we were having. But at that time, I don't have the money or the resources that a lot of these guys do. So from August, I shut the program down, and we tore Rogue apart, and we've been working on it ever since to try to make this season work out for us. I went to every race I still could. A lot of people say they see me there and whatnot. I was with Dave.
Yeah. Yep.
I show up and help Dave out, but if Chuck or Ryan, Ryan's got a big crew, but like any of them that needed help, I was there for the 405 for sure. Just kind of learning the way. I was watching the tree, watching how competitors raced, watching how it was in the pits. Like, it wasn't the same atmosphere that I'm used to, other than maybe Armageddon. And it wasn't that I was like shocked about how big the crowd was or the pits, how crazy they can be and stuff, but I wanted to get the feel of everything else. So I traveled, made those races, and learned what I could learn. And I think we're going to probably try to take a shot at it. I'm real close to getting Rogue right back together now. Once we get it together, I'll take it to Fuel Tech and we'll dyno it, and then we'll probably start testing our asses off. If I feel like it can be a competitor, I'm going to probably jump in head first.
Nice. I'm sure you've had conversations with production and stuff. So you can say you did 5 races last year in the futures. Would there be futures you'd be jumping into right away again this year?
I mean, if they do the same format as last year and everybody kind of shows up to that first race and you race your way in, I'm going to throw my name in the hat for that for sure.
Nice.
You want to do invitational. I think the combination that I did, which is a little bit different than what everybody else, I'm glad Proline has had the success that they have with so many cars, but man, it's really hard for me to kind of do the same thing as everybody else. It's hard for me to jump on board when there's 30 other combinations just like it out there. So I had to do something different. I wanted to, stick to the big block Chevy deal. So I did. I got with Matt and them at MBE, and we built an engine that we think can make the horsepower that a lot of those Hemi combinations can, and take advantage of some of the rules, be lighter, and give them fits with that thing.
Yeah, hell yeah. So you're pretty set on your combo. It doesn't really matter what
I ain't got the money. I'm a little heavy, but fuck it. At this point, like I ain't got the money or the resources to change it. So it is what it is. Like, I might come in a little heavy, but if not, I'll try to put the weight where it needs to be, and I'm just gonna run that damn thing.
Hell yeah. Do you have a preference of do you prefer racing on the street compared to no prep, or?
Oh, that's a tough one. Man, to be honest, I really like the illegal street side of it. I mean, that's kind of where we cut our teeth, and then like I said, we got into some no prep stuff. But I don't know. It's two totally different animals, to be honest. Like, they're both fun in different ways. You know what I mean? You got the whole crowd for this MPK stuff, and then you got just the street lights and you're not supposed to be doing this, or it's illegal. The only thing that really concerns me is the safety concerns on the street stuff. I mean, these cars are fucking fast, and we realize that, especially when we went to Chicago. I mean, there's no secret running 420s out there. I ran that thing. I put my fastest tune-up I've ever been on in that thing when it was, had a steel block and whatnot. And we put the fast and the drive shaft curve looked like it was. I mean, it was going faster than what it was before. We would traction control type shit. We didn't know how to do any of that, to be honest. So
yeah,
it was just stupid, really.
So did you kind of see the writing on the wall that you guys are going to be going to small tires fairly soon?
And I mean, Yeah, it had to stop at some point. I mean, me and Matt from MBE was looking at videos today, and he's like, and the first thing he's like, "Oh my God, look how narrow that road is," and then he's like, "God, look at the telephone poles," and just on and on and on. I'm like, "Hey, will you stop critiquing like how stupid we are, or tell us like we get it?"
Yeah.
But nah, yeah, you see it, but it had to stop at some point. And then on top of the fact that we couldn't find hardly any races anymore, like, you know what I mean? And people say they would race us, I want to do this, I want to do that, but for real, they wanted the weird ass stipulations and stuff like that. From what I could be, from what I heard, and nobody really wanted to race us anymore. We done kicked the shit out of, or they done kicked the shit out of everybody by the time I came on. That nobody really cared to race us all that much anymore.
Right. Yeah, and it seemed like that. I mean, obviously, all the 4 or 5 guys have talked about that, but even the Chicago race from last year's episode was like Chicago wasn't ready. They had all small tire cars, and then it's almost like they had to invite Kansas City and get like Robin Roberts and those guys to come because they had big tire cars.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they started bringing in them Kansas City guys and whatnot, but once they got there and they made hits on the road all day before us, they didn't stand a chance. Oh, half of them packed up and went home, I think. So it was just one of them situations where we had to step, back into their side of racing of it, because it was hard, and it is hard for people to jump right in and do this. Like, it took me 5 years to build that car because of, financial or life, decisions or whatever. And, by the time I got done building the car, I really did not think too much about racing these guys at that level on the street. I thought if I ever got an opportunity, I'd do it. And that's the thing. I had only been racing Rogue 6 months when I got a message from Chief looking for somebody new. I think he texted McDougal, if he knew any big tire local cars that hadn't tried out before, or, whatever. And he threw my name out there, and we got a shot at it, and we capitalized on it.
Hell yeah. Is there future plans for you on the street as far as filming other things other than the 405 show?
I mean, to be honest, I would do everything I could get into if I could, afford to, or take off work to go do, or whatever. Mega, I really wanted to go to Mega. I was trying to make work. It was just, I would have had to take too many steps back, and it would have still been an iffy deal with Rogue. And then the Mustang was too heavy, slow, and all that. So it's like, go out there and just get my teeth kicked in. Sometimes you got to figure out if the juice is worth the squeeze. And at that point in time where we were with everything, it was not. So, but as far as future plans, yeah, I'd like to get both cars, where I could figure out how to do more with it. I don't really want to go out and buy any more cars. Like, these two are a fucking headache enough, you know what I mean? So,
right.
I'll get into just about anything though. Once I get these two back up and going, I'm probably gonna be at a race every damn weekend, probably.
Nice. Hell yeah. If you want, Dan, we'll take a couple of questions from people on the comments. I wish you could see the comments right now because Dave and Richard Rowe are really lighting up the comment section.
I talked to him earlier, and I'm like, he's like, "Oh, I can't wait till you get on there." I was like,
yeah, I think it's on if you're on the phone, you're not gonna be able to see the comments, I don't think. But I'll be able to put them on the screen.
You can just repeat them. I can hear it in his voice, I'm sure.
I don't know. So here's a question from Rachel. It says, Rachel Wilson, why did you name the car Rogue?
Because mainly, if you look it up on the Urban Dictionary, it's got a good meaning to street. I think it's a girl without a master or a pimp or something like that, kind of does her own thing. And it was pretty fitting at the time. Like, we didn't race with the 405 guys at the time, and didn't really know if we'd ever get in. I've seen so many people try to get in and it doesn't work out for them, or they try to like buy their way into this deal and it didn't work out for them. Like, this is a hard fucking group to get in and race. So I thought at the time, like, you know, we're going to go rogue with this deal, do our own thing. We're going to go to Kansas. We're going to do that race, you know? So yeah, I found it pretty fitting.
Nice. Maybe on the street or no prep that you've been doing, is there anybody you've developed a little bit of a rival with? Someone you like to always beat when you race them?
Let me think here. I mean, if there's any kind of rivalry, I'm probably pretty sure it's. Are you talking about on the show?
No, just in general.
Oh, just in general?
Yeah, over the years of racing, anybody.
Other than maybe Lutz, I know Lutz will want to redeem himself. He's a fast guy, but he hasn't been able to get around me yet in either car. So I'm sure he's going to be ready for whenever we get into MPK or something to get on me, or, you know, maybe the new show, his Black 57 and my Mustang or something. You know, I've had a lot of respect for that guy's, you know, him and his son and his cars and stuff, but he hasn't got me yet. And then I got Chuck on the other side of that. It's beat me probably 7 times. So like, I'm always out to catch his ass. I'm sure, you know, the feeling's mutual with Lutz. Other than that, no, really. Like, everybody's pretty respectful and taking their ass whoopings or giving them. So it's all good.
Right. Yeah. This we got a question here. I'm gonna this comment section. So
everywhere. What's your favorite photographer, and are you willing to do full frontal? Oh,
guy by the name Dean Images. I don't know if you know who that is.
It looks like he shoots naked girls or guys or something. I'd have to say that Russell at Dean Images is probably my favorite photographer. He has actually came in with me. Me and him's been friends for a long time. He went to a rival school of ours, and we drank a lot of beer together, hung out a lot. He picked up photography. I got back into racing a lot, and it just kind of worked out really well. He's taught me a lot on, you know, the social media stuff. Like I told you, I'm not very tech savvy. Like, I'm surprised we got on here on that time.
Me too.
Usually he helped me out. He fucking helped me out tonight. So, and no, Russell, I'm not going to do any full frontals.
Dana, what do you like to do when you're not working on your car or racing? What other hobbies you got?
My kids, they're always into something. Like, I stay pretty busy with them. I got 3 kids. Bryson just finished up wrestling. He junior races, the girls dance, and play soccer. So we just finished up an indoor soccer season with my middle daughter. So, you know, I enjoy watching them progress in their sports and trying to help them out with that. I was a big sports buff growing up, played a lot of football and whatnot. And, I've always been kind of.
Were you any good?
Yeah, I was pretty good. Yeah.
Really?
Quarterback and a free safety, and all stated as a free safety.
Nice. So you must have got some offers then for college, huh?
Yeah, my grades sucked. Like, I stayed at my dad's shop all the time. My dad owned a local 2-bay garage in our small town, and, you know, he wasn't a stranger to staying up till 2 a.m. working on hot rods or cars or something. So I stayed down there a lot. I learned more in the shop than I did in school and stuff. So my grades weren't the greatest, but I played an all-state game in 2002, and there the coach kind of hit me up about coming to play for them, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then after, like I said, being competitive, I got into kickboxing a lot, got into some grappling, which led into that's when MMA was really getting kind of hot and stuff. So I did a few of those bouts and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of, I always like staying busy and competitive and just being competitive. So, you know, and racing kind of sprinkled in there every time. You know, I started when I was like 16. Thunder Valley had a high school shootout deal. So that's where I started drag racing at.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. People should know that. Don't mess with Damon because he has
I'm
done
a
some
lover.
MMA before.
It was fun, whole different experience. So I enjoyed it. I don't have any missing teeth or anything, so it's all good.
Yeah. Do you watch all the episodes? Do you watch yourself on TV? How is it seeing yourself on TV? Especially at first. It had to be weird, huh?
Yeah, it was very strange. I realized how big of a hillbilly I sound like. I grew up here and I live about 30 minutes south of Oklahoma City, 30, 40 minutes. And most people from Oklahoma City ask me where I'm from. I guess because my accent's thick or whatever. So
Yeah.
when you have local people asking where you're from, that's not ever. And then when I see myself on TV, I understood. But anyway, other than that, no, it's weird. Like you're kind of laying there in bed watching a rerun or something. You're like, holy fuck, that's me on there. You know, Bryson he's 12 now. He's literally been watching these guys his whole life. Like, so that's kind of a cool deal. You know, the kids see it. You know, we're doing local.
Dad's a superstar. Dad's a superstar on TV, right? So
you know, they're always, why ain't you on this show? Or why ain't you on this show? Well, I mean, you have to be ready for those things, and I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, correct. Desiree's got a question. It says, what was the first car you ever raced?
Car I ever raced would have been it was actually a truck. It was a 1980 model step-side GMC Sierra. We built a little 355 for it, drove it in high school, and that's what we took to the Thunder Valley High School drags.
Nice. That's cool. Talking about your TV, up until like the last couple of days, I've received a lot of messages before doing this interview, and they've all been like messages of like, can't wait to see Damon. He's so awesome on the show. It's all been really positive. Do you feel like you are who you are on the TV show? Like you're not being portrayed in a different light. Like you're really that kind and like great personality, stuff like that.
If I did, it would show a lot more. I was real kind of standoffish when the camera crew kind of came around, and I want people to realize that they don't ask us to do or say anything. So I kind of didn't have any direction on what they wanted me to be or what kind of mold I needed to fit in or anything. And this year you can kind of see, especially when we're not doing interviews and stuff, I like having fun. I like being goofy and stuff. And I want my crew to, want to be there and, or the guys to, enjoy racing with us or whatever. So I really wasn't the class clown, but I always wanted to be, I didn't want to put anybody in a sense that we didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be there if I don't want to, whether it's filmed or not. I wanted to compete, and I probably get a lot more weird when the cameras come because I just know exactly how to be. But this year I've got a pocket. I mean, let's do our own. It is what it is at this point. I just want to be there and race.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, first off, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight, Damon. When I reached out to you, I didn't know if you were going to say yes or no, but I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, I'm a fan of yours, man, ever since you first started. And you seem like a really nice guy. I think TV probably portrays you as how you are. So good luck this year. I'm going to try to hit up all the MPK events I can. So hopefully I can meet you and we can talk some shit.
Our pits are always, or you're always welcome in our pits. So just come on by and say hi.
Cool, man. Will do. Well, thank you. Have a good night, sir.
You too, bud. Thank you.
Thanks.